Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via Livestream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbprou.com.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Live at 8:05. This is Andrew Frazier, your host, and really excited to be back with you again this Tuesday evening, really talking to small business. As we always share, small business success is all about leadership and how effectively you're able to lead your organization forward. So what we do here with this show is really help you to become a better leader by exposing you to successful entrepreneurs and business owners who have led their business successfully, to expose you to thought leaders and to information and knowledge that you can put to work immediately within your business. So this week, like all other weeks, we have a great guest who's been willing to take time out of their busy schedule, really share their expertise and share some knowledge that could be helpful to you and your business. So today, our topic is getting the capital that you need to grow. And our guest expert is Michelle Smith, CEO of One Hawk Capital. I've known Michelle for many years. We've talked about financing, raising capital on the real estate side, as well as talking about businesses and other things that are going on there. She's done some great things in both sides. And, not only that, she's an adjunct professor, teaches economics, which is, really, we're going to draw some of her expertise out on that as well, and has started and has many different businesses in different industries. So wealth of knowledge from Michelle Smith. Look forward to having her on. So, hey, Michelle, good evening. Let's see. Want to have you join us. And let me get you in there. All right. There we go. Hey, Michelle, there you go.
Hi there. Hi, Andy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How's everything going?
Everything's going well. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I appreciate it.
Okay, no, our pleasure. And thanks for taking the time to be here with our audience this evening and share some of the great things that you know. You've seen a lot, been through a lot, been personally invested in a lot of different things, and had a very interesting journey. So would love to have you share a little bit about where you're from, how you've gotten to where you are, and a little bit about what you're doing now.
I would love to. And first, let me say thank you for having me. I'm certainly happy to be here and spend as much time as I can on a topic that I absolutely love, which is small business and capital raises for small business. A little about myself. I don't know how far you want me to go back, but I did go to University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, majored in economics and English, got my master's degree in business. And in some capacity, in the past 20 years, I have been on any side of lending, underwriting, structuring deals, or securing capital for commercial projects or businesses. So that's where I reign, and that's what I've done to a large degree in my career. I do have other businesses, but this is my bread and butter, and this is what I consider myself to be an expert at. Also, as you mentioned, I did teach economics at Georgia State University for many, many years. And I taught microeconomics, taught macroeconomics, taught the global economy, which was an awesome class as well. And then, of course, taught a master's level class in public policy and microeconomics. So we certainly have a tremendous amount of attention being paid to the current economy. And of course, in any economy, in any diaspora of any country, the economy matters to small businesses, especially in the United States and any industrialized nation. But in the United States, 42% of all new jobs come from small businesses. So not only is it important, is an important aspect of our economy, but it's important to the growth in our GDP in the United States. So very happy to be here and look forward to talking to you about how to raise capital and how to grow the company.
Well, definitely, looking at small businesses and its impact on the country. And one thing I learned writing my book is I had it translated into Spanish, and there was a gentleman in Colombia who translated it. He was like, "Man, I wish I'd have read this book 4 years ago." And he's like, "We really need this down here because every business down here is a small business. So it's not even the U.S., it's internationally.
That's great. That's a great
business
point.
Drives everything."
That is a great point. So you had it translated into Spanish to
yes,
expand your reach, and the number of Spanish-speaking countries is vast as well. So phenomenal.
yes. So there's just a thirst for knowledge, and the trends. I'm not sure what you're seeing in terms of small business ownership trends, but it seems like more and more people are going into business these days.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We're seeing that in tremendous numbers, and not just the traditional small business, start a business, do your business development, etc. We're seeing people do things like trade, and so they'll do a trade account in a small business, or we'll see people start a business with peers or friends and just have that business there to see how it grows and have definite ideas on where it's going to expand. And then, of course, with the pandemic, many people started businesses during that time out of, for whatever reason, lack of much business going on. But also, when you've had that inkling that you want to start a business, what a time to do it. Everyone was at home. You have access to so many different things with the internet being available, and so many different companies looking for ways to give access to capital to small businesses. So we've seen a tremendous growth in small business. Having said that, we'll see how that pans out. Right now, the economy is booming, but also the alternative to that is inflation is kind of going up. It's surging. It's almost doubled in the past few months. So we're a bit concerned about that for small businesses, because almost everything we're purchasing now has increased in cost, but not necessarily increased in value.
Yep. And not only that, wages haven't really increased at all for many people.
Absolutely.
So their buying power is diminished. So
absolutely, very good point. And also, I believe that there are 25 states that have decided to end unemployment, I think July, and then the federal government, I think, is in September. So there are many things that are going on as far as how the money is going to manage itself. But also there are ideas to sort of implement a price control with wages. That can or cannot work. It depends on the process and the rollout of it. But yes, we have a lot going on in coordinated efforts to maintain our economy. I will say this 9.5% growth rate is unsustainable. However, it's pretty amazing that we're where we are, considering we just exited a pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So one of the things that, I think you alluded to, and I find is, you know, during a crisis, there's plenty of challenges, but
Hmm.
there's plenty of opportunities.
Yes.
And, you know, as a business, how do you figure out, how should they think about opportunities and figure out where the opportunity is for them? What types of uh, ways should they look at it or think about it?
Sure. During the pandemic, Andy, businesses, especially small businesses, had to have flexibility that they've never had to have before. They had to secure customers that they never had to secure before. When you are in crisis mode and your business is waning and the entire country, the entire world is shut down, yes, you have to get busy quickly and get flexible really quickly around how you're going to maintain your revenue stream. The alternative is you have no revenue. So many businesses sought to find a way to redefine themselves online and to do massive campaigns around people that were online or on their phone, SMS marketing, and of course, trying to get in any way, shape, or form in front of an audience to tell about their business. It was challenging and it was a crisis level. I think many people did very well and some not so well. We have the PPP, fortunately, for small businesses. Many people are having those loans forgiven and they're trying to rebuild their companies in this environment. It's a great environment to do just that. And I believe that we're going to have some phenomenal results in the next quarter on into next year. We know that since inflation is something that people are thinking about, everyone's trying to hedge inflation. So they're doing it in different ways. You can do it in business, you can hedge in business, hedge using business, hedge using real estate, you can hedge using bonds, a lot of different options there. But I do think flexibility during this crisis was something that small business actually it commanded, and many small businesses came out just superlatively, which is an excellent thing. I think personally, when you're in crisis, even when you're not in crisis, the number one thing that you want to do in business, you have to have capital to operate. So you want to secure your capital, right? The second thing you want to do is you want to manage that capital. The way you manage the capital that you bring in, paramount. And of course, scale that business, your business with that capital. So many ways to do that, and depending on where your business is. The government sort of defines small business in a very large way. I mean, our government, this is a major industrialized nation. We have the largest company in the world in Apple with the largest market cap. However, a small business in this country is a company that has 1,500 people or less and makes 38.5 million annually. So we know that most businesses are not there. Most small businesses are around the 100 to 250,000 annual receipts, and those businesses are the backbone of the country. And we like to pay a lot of attention to them, and access to capital for that group of businesses is very critical.
Okay. Yeah, no, definitely. That's one of the biggest challenges out there is accessing the capital.
Mm-hmm.
We've both been on both sides of the equation.
Yes.
And definitely it's, helpful to be able to share, some experience and knowledge that's gained and can only be gained by actually going through raising your own capital, helping
Mm-hmm.
other people raise capital. And, exciting, you're building a venture fund and doing venture investing.
Yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that and really get into it a little bit. But before we do that, we're going to take a minute out.
Okay.
Today's show, Leadership Live at 8:05, is produced by the Small Business Pro University. So it would be good to know a little bit about the Small Business Pro University. So we're going to take a minute to just learn a little bit about the university. And then we're going to come back and talk to Michelle about venture capital and what she's doing there and what she looks for in potential investments. Okay.
Do you own your business or does it own you? Is your business growing and are you making enough money? As a business owner, there are so many things you need to know to become more successful. Hello, my name is Andrew Frazier, the Business Growth Pro and CFO. I created the Small Business Pro University for you. Small Business Pro University has self-paced, dynamic, multimedia learning experiences created by more than 20 instructors who are business owners just like you. Small Business Pro University will empower you to become a masterpreneur by learning the secrets to creating a successful enterprise to go from working in your business to working on your business. Take advantage of our strategic coaching program or just simply choose the courses that you need. At www.sbprou.com, we will empower you to thrive and not just survive and make more money in any business environment.
Okay. Welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05, talking small business. Here with Michelle Smith, and we're going to talk about how to get access to the capital that you need to grow your business. So, Michelle, before we get started, you're working on doing venture capital investments, and you've gotten financing, and you've helped people get financing. Talk a little bit about what it takes to get financing and what you need to do in terms of your business.
Okay. Now, with venture capital, there's so many avenues to raise capital. Venture capital is, I'm not sure, it depends on where your business is, but I'm not so sure that would be the first avenue for a business. It depends on where you are. But here's what you must do this. If you do nothing else, you have to have a capitalization plan, a cap plan. So if anyone is going to hear what you need, what you want, they're going to want to know what you're going to spend the money on and how you're going to get a return on the investment. So for instance, venture capitalists usually look at more mature businesses. So to be very realistic, they are looking for a return. We're looking for a return on our investment for the fund, the venture capital fund, or for the firm. So if someone gives you $100,000, what's the return on that? What's the expectation of the return on that? Is it going to be 7 or 8%? Is it going to be 10 or 12, or is it going to be 20%? Something very realistic. So as a venture capitalist, we're going to know what problem you solve. Most small businesses are in business for a reason. So the problem that the small business is solving for the universe is very important. And it's also something that venture capitalists are going to look toward, because as a venture capitalist, you're going to want to see a business that can scale. So if the business is going to be pigeonholed to a very small demographic, that may not be something that a venture capitalist will decide to put money behind or fund. But they're very much looking for future. They're looking for your plan. We're looking for what problem you solve, and we're looking for the return. Many people miss the return, but it is one of the most important aspects of venture capital, because the venture capitalist has to report the return that they're making on the money that they provide to small business. So venture capitalists are looking for a variety of things. One of the best things about venture is exactly what it says it is. It's venture capital. The venture capitalist is venturing out to find a business that they feel very comfortable with. One of the things small businesses should always do is find, and it's an easy search, find a venture capitalist that is in your industry. We might have 3,000 venture capitalists, but the CEO or the funder or the person that makes the decision may be rooted in healthcare. They may be rooted in e-commerce. They may be rooted in cybersecurity. So you're going to want to find a venture capitalist that understands your business, because it's going to be easier when you present your visuals, when you present your executive summary, for them to say, hey, listen, this makes sense. And they're going to be able to ask you very detailed questions about where you're headed in the business. But ideally, you're going to want to find someone who is in your line of business and is lending money or giving money based on the fact that your business can scale and grow.
Okay. Well, I'll correct you in that they never give money.
That's true. You're absolutely right. That would be an interesting one, right? I guess in that vein, we're talking angel investor.
Right.
They're giving, even they don't really give money.
Right. Nobody gives you money except for your mom. So,
and then she's looking at you sort of like, okay, how did that go? Right. Everyone wants to know how it went, right? How's it going?
Yep. And, I think you hit on a few key points. And, one, venture capital is not for every business. There's different types of financing that make sense based on your situation and where your business is. And, we're talking about venture capital, but not always venture capital is right for you. Actually, a small percentage of companies. But either way, you still need to do the things and think about what they would be looking for, because any other person investing or financing you is going to want to know the same things. You talked about venture being, venture, whereas they're taking a lot more risk. And you also have private equity. And tell us a little bit about what's the difference, and what type of companies would be the right fit for each of those.
Okay. In the venture capital realm, it really is designed for more mature companies. So it's not a startup type of entity. You're not going to want to approach a venture capitalist as a startup. On the other hand, a private equity company is they have their own money. They are privately investing that money into small businesses, not as big on return as maybe the venture capitalist may be. So private equity firms also are more into exchanging equity for their money than just looking at the return. So for instance, if you have a cybersecurity, or maybe you have a SPAC, whatever company you have right now that you're starting, if you approach a private equity firm, they're going to want to look at who owns what, how much of that is owned, and what percentage they can get based on their return on investment. So let's say you're a startup, you have no return on investment, but you have a cap plan. So if that private equity firm can see that, okay, I can see that in 9 months, if this plan is followed, there's going to be positive cash flow, EBITDA, and based on that amount of cash flow, I'd like to take 35%, sort of a Shark Tank type of thing. I'd like to take 35% of all revenues. Would that leave us enough to scale and grow as a company and put enough back so that we have enough capital to make sure that we're buying the inventory we need and doing massive ad campaigns as well? So they're similar but different from that perspective.
Okay. And, you hit upon something big that most business owners don't think about. But, 35% of equity, usually they're like, well, I'll give you 1% or 5%. But, as a business owner, if someone's going to invest in you, venture capital might want 35%. What would you look for if you're going to invest in a company with your VC fund? How much equity would you be looking for?
As much as possible.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that's the answer. But I think that any smart venture capitalist, one of the things we look for is, first of all, is there going to be enough so that we can even pay ourselves that first year? I mean, a small business is a major undertaking if you're going to do it successfully. And if you have a goal of being the major unicorn small business of the universe, you have to be able to manage that capital. So yes, we're going to be looking at, can we take some equity? And if so, how much? And if so, how much has already been allocated? Because even if you do the first round of funding, that may get you 18 months. And then you're going to be looking at your second round in just 6 months from securing the first round. It also takes a while to close a round of funding. And that's not bad because you're going to get the funds, but you have to have the ability to manage it. You have to have a cap plan and understand that venture capitalists, while we're giving money, we want to make sure that this business is not, it doesn't represent validity to you, that it's not just a wish or a dream, that there's actually a notion of a business here that can make you money, that you're dedicated to it, and that you are going to make sure that it prospers under any and all circumstances, that you've thought out your business plan, that you have a direction, that you've solved a problem in the marketplace, and more importantly, that you're understanding of the fact that this money is just one piece of what it takes to make a business successful.
Okay. So, a lot of people start their business because they want independence and be able to make decisions and be able to run their business the way they see fit. How does that match up with accepting a venture capital investment?
I think that some people, venture capitalists, we want to see someone who's all in. So if you're working a job right now, again, a venture capitalist is going to look for a mature business, a business that's able to sort of jumpstart with an infusion of capital or some sort of capital injection. So I don't know whether, if you're working a job, or if you have 3 companies, or if you have 1 company, or if you have major commitments outside of this business, that's going to be a distraction. We're going to see it as a distraction. And we're going to ask you about it, so you have to have your answers ready. I think that's why it normally takes a team of people. One of the best platforms that I like is, there's so many, but Angel List is one that I really like, because you can get on Angel List, and if let's say you have a software design that you need, but that's not your strong suit. Or let's say you need a massive business plan, but that's not your strong suit. You can get on Angel List. You can find a person who knows how to do back-end processing on software development and integrations, and you can give them a small piece of your company's equity for their expertise, which is something that people do all the time. But Angel List has a really nice platform going from that perspective, and I think they are one of the envies of the business environment. Kickstarter is another one where you can, if you have, and people are experts at posting on Kickstarter, if you have a business and you want to raise money, you can go on Kickstarter. And I think, I'm pretty sure from 2012 to now, 2021, they've actually raised billions, like 5 or 6 billions of dollars just on that one platform, Kickstarter. So there's a number of ways to go. Indiegogo is another one. Patreon, WeFunder, Fundly, Rocket Hub. There are so many places to raise money. Fundraiser, but it's spelled FUNDRAZR, is also another option for raising capital on a smaller scale and having people speak to you one-on-one as far as what you're going to accomplish, and also helping you. You can get an advisory board on Angel List and many of these other options, because whenever a company goes public, or whenever a company gets to that point where they're at $1 million annually, it's usually not a singular effort. It's taken a lot of people and a lot of people's ideas to get it there. And I do believe that there's so many options these days on where you can ground yourself in listening to others about your business and what they think your business should be about. Let's say you have a small healthcare company. You could be providing, let's say you're providing syringes or things of that nature, actual product. The first thing you should do is call a company who sells a ton of those and ask them, hey, how's your business going? Can you be my mentor? Can I talk to you about what I'm doing in my business? We're doing something a little different. Do you have 5 minutes to spare just to chat with me about what I'm doing and give me an okay on where I'm going. Give me some advice if you don't mind, et cetera, et cetera. People love that kind of conversation, but it requires the small business to actually reach out to the larger business. A lot of times mergers and acquisitions happen that way. They already know the company is there. They're just waiting for them to get to a point that they can actually acquire them.
Yeah, definitely. We always say that relationships are everything.
Yes.
And as a business owner, building those relationships with people in your industry, people who are more knowledgeable than you in different spaces is key. So definitely getting help, and it's a team effort.
Yes.
You mentioned that you can get help, but earlier you also mentioned that it's work to get financing. You don't just show up one day and be like, I need $1 million and you get it.
Right.
It's a job to get
Yes.
financing. So
Yes,
could you
yes.
walk through, a little bit of a example in terms of like timeline and what people would have to do on average to get venture capital financing, just so people have an idea what it really looks like?
Sure. That's a great question, and I don't want to say it depends, but it depends. And the reason it depends is if you're going to go through a crowdfunding source, it's going to be quicker, right? You have your business, you place your business there, you tell them what your business is doing, your profit, loss, your liquidity, and all of that is an open book, and you get your capital injection. My answer to that is it depends on the amount of money that you're actually requesting. If you're asking for $10,000, obviously that's going to be a lot easier than 2.5 million, and which is going to be a lot easier than 50 million. So when you do a round of financing that's under 100,000, it can be done as quickly as 90 days, it could be done as quickly as 30 days. It depends on the outfit that you're talking to, and also how prepared you are when you do speak to that person. And always ask for the money, ask for the timeline, because it's different for different people. Because chances are, when we talk to someone, let's say we're dealing with cybersecurity this month, and we're going to make a push this quarter to listen to businesses that are in cybersecurity or people that are doing green energy or doing farming in the green energy space, things of solar, whatever it is. And if whatever we're focused on that month, believe me, there's a 1,000 businesses that you're competing with for those funds. It is not 10 businesses. It's not 20. It's usually a ton. So you've got to stand out. You've got to stand out. You've got to make sure that when you're speaking to a person, that they understand everything that you're saying, that your business plan is well thought out, and that you can articulate it in a manner that a person gets excited about it and sees your vision for this company. Everyone says that that nothing is new under the face of the sun, but it actually is. Look at what we've done with the internet. Look at how we've managed the internet. Look at how the internet has changed the face of small business. Look at how many small businesses are on the internet, how it's flattened the world, and how people say, hey, listen, this was something that was necessary. We could see it. I mean, Google, when it started as a small business, they did not even know how to monetize their business. Remember, they just had a search engine that everyone used, but they weren't making any money. So until they put that infrastructure under it to actually make the money, that's the only time that it proliferated and was able to IPO. And I know that's a grandiose example, but everyone starts somewhere. Every business started somewhere. They did not believe that their business would be as great and big as it actually turned out to be. They just wanted to help people search for items on the internet.
Yeah, no, it's interesting how that works. And one thing that you hit upon that I always talk to business owners, actually even today, in one of my coaching sessions, is preparation.
Yes.
So many business owners come to the table unprepared, and sometimes woefully unprepared. So definitely want to talk about what it means to be prepared, and be able to really come and be likely to be able to access capital, because it's not easy. Like you said, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of businesses out there that could be competing for the money with you. What is it that you need to do? So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back to check that out. One of the key things about a successful business is really running it professionally, and that's one of the things I've done, and actually wrote my book, Running Your Small Business Like a Pro. Yes. And I just finished the workbook, so a companion workbook that not only you can read about key things you need to do, but you can actually work on them and really learn them in depth and work on them for your business. So just going to share a quick video about the book and the concept, and then we'll be back here to talk to Michelle about preparing to get your financing.
Growing revenue, increasing profitability, and obtaining financing are the results of running your small business like a pro.
This is really the path to achieving the success that most entrepreneurs and business owners are looking to achieve. But it's a path where most people get stuck between step one and step two.
Businesses close every day because their owners were not able to create a successful, sustainable enterprise. If you do not create an enterprise, the only way that you can sell your business successfully is you sell yourself with it.
This book is a common sense guide for learning how to run your small business as a professional enterprise.
You can pick up the book as a new entrepreneur or as a seasoned entrepreneur and get something out of it. It's very educational.
It provides a fundamental understanding of the challenges small businesses face with real-world solutions that drive results.
Life examples of what happens in business with cash flow, handling money, very, very accurate, and they were experiences that I've had.
Structure. If I do a shoot, I know that there are certain steps that I have to take to get me to where I need to go. But when it comes to business, I didn't have the same sense of what needed to be done. Andrew helped me see systems or steps we take to grow a business. So he's helped systematize it.
I worked with a client who was looking to retire and sell his business and expected to get over $500,000 for it. However, when I assessed the business and looked to figure out what the value was, it was less than $100,000. Why was this? Because he didn't create an enterprise. The business was centered around him, and without him, there wasn't a business. This book helps you to understand how to create an enterprise where it can run successfully without you.
Get your copy today. Andrew Frazier's new book online at www.runningyoursmallbusinesslikeapro.com. Also available on Amazon.
Okay, great. Welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05. I'm here with Michelle Smith, and we're talking about how to get the capital that you need to grow. One of the chapters in my book is how will you get the financing? And one of the things that I put together to help people prepare and understand about it is it's called Pray for Financing. One, it doesn't hurt to pray on your knees in financing. I'm sure a lot of people have for divine intervention. And some people need divine intervention, but beyond that, P stands for prepare yourself and your business. R stands for research, types and of financing and organizations that might finance you. A stands for assemble your documents, because a lot of times people don't get financing because they never turn in all the documents. And Y is for yield, because once you've done everything, there's nothing else you can do but wait and work with the investor or lender. And that was a sort of easier way for people to understand. But when you're looking at, what would you say the challenges that you see with people who are looking for financing? What are some things that you look for in being able to see that they're prepared and someone that is more likely to get financing?
Well, I love your acronym and your idea around preparedness and what you came up with there, Andy. I think it's wonderful. So thank you for that. And I think in addition to that, which if you have those things, you're really going to do well. And the old adage or the old equation that says that success is when preparation meets opportunity. We've heard that a long time as well. And I think you captured it very well. Thank you. One of the things that must be done when you're talking to a venture capitalist is you're actually most likely not going to be talking to that person right away. You're going to be talking to an assistant or a team of people that are pouring through pitch decks, and they're going to invite several people in to pitch to the people who are making the end decision about whether they're going to fund or not. So one of the things I'd like to say is get as much information beforehand about the VC company, get as much as you can about how long you're going to be allowed to present, what types of deals they finance. Ask them really complicated questions like what return on investment are they looking for? What kinds of deals do they thrive with? What kinds of deals do they frown upon? How many pages should my pitch deck be? It's 15. Normally we say a pitch deck should be no more than 15 pages. Ask them if you have access to a person at that VC firm, ask them, how many pages should my pitch deck be? And can I do 20 pages for these reasons, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Never assume, because 15 pages is the industry standard, but this might be a company that likes to pour through the numbers. It also depends on your business. If you've been in business 3 years, 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, you have a history of financial performance. They're going to want to pour through a lot of that data, which might require you to do more there, present more and do more. I think having multiple copies of the pitch deck and really giving them a full understanding of your business, but not overdoing it, right? So if you're pitching to me or a VC company, you might say to them, this is where I think this is where we're going to make the money in this business. And when you say that, a venture capitalist is going to perk up and they're going to listen to everything you say after that statement. So you're going to want visuals to appropriately capture or give them an idea on where they're going to make money and how it's going to manifest itself with your business as opposed to someone else's. A lot of people say, or many people say, I need to stand out. How do I stand out? Well, the way you stand out is to make sure that your revenue stream that you're telling the venture capitalist you're going to make has a high propensity to succeed. So if you're selling widgets that cost $5 and you're telling them you need 1 million clients and you can get 1 million clients in 9 months, you better have a very good process to getting those 1 million clients, because that sounds a little pie in the sky. Everyone says, if I just get 10% of this area, and really you have to move forward to getting 1%, 2%, 3%, 0.02% of people in that area, because that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where your business is going to get actual traction and not just be a company that's wishing and hoping, but actually is actually putting effort toward actionable processes to make sure that you make your money, make the money that you're saying that your business can make. So your knowledge of your industry is, no one else should know the knowledge of your industry. in your business as well as you do. And venture capitalists, VC firms can pinpoint it. They can see. They're going to ask you questions you've never been asked before. So be prepared.
Okay, no, that's a great point. One thing that you mentioned is that you may not ever, you may not be talking to the people who are going to make the decision on whether you get the financing. And, especially in lending, you may never meet them. So it's important to be able to communicate in writing.
Yes.
Effectively. And really even just, before you have your pitch deck, you don't even get to give your pitch deck without an executive summary, a compelling executive summary. So really tightening up your writing is important. And like you were saying, those are, being prepared is a great way to stand out, because, that's really what they're looking for. So no, those are excellent points. One other thing that you brought up was, can you make the numbers? Is it credible? What is it? A lot of times I've heard that, they look at the founder and whether they think the founder can do it as one of the most important criteria of whether they're going to invest. So, is that something that you look at? And if so, what traits or what about a founder who you think is worth investing? How are they different from others?
Yeah, that's a good question. And we can never understate how important it is to be prepared. So I want to make sure I just reiterate preparedness and how important it is. Because if you're not prepared, it's going to show. When a person is talking to me about business and capital and securing capital and the injection of capital, I want to know everything. I want to know absolutely everything about this person. I want to know what they do at night. I want to know what they do on the weekends. I want to know what they do during the day to move this business forward. And if they cannot tell me that, then that's a problem. If they cannot tell me every aspect of their business and why it exists and why I should invest in that business, then it's going to be a long day. I know that people have a tendency to sort of shy away from being incredibly succinct and concise. And I guess that, for lack of a better term, in embracing this idea of, I am the person that you should invest in, and here's why. And if you start your presentation with that, you're gonna have a lot of people listening to you. But you also have to have something that you're going to say after that makes sense. And everyone has an idea. Is it ripe? Is it a ripe idea? Is it an idea that has tremendous oomph and propriety that people are looking at? I mean, we know cybersecurity is huge right now. We know SPACs are huge right now. We know crypto is huge right now. We know healthcare is huge. We know e-commerce is huge. We have so many different businesses that are doing phenomenal work, and it matters how you are coming across to the person who's going to give you that money, and also just the follow-up. That's why it's important to not put all your eggs in one basket. There are thousands of VC firms, thousands in this country. I got a list the other day. It had 6,000 VC firms on it, and each one of them had a little blurb about which industry they preferred. And so if you go with VC, you've got all these different avenues, but you still have crowdfunding, you still have bootstrapping, you still have peer-to-peer, you still have all of these Kickstarter platforms, angel lists. You have so many different avenues in this country. So don't give up, because it is wide open out there, but have guarded expectations about what you want to do and how you're going to perform, because it will show. They will see your sincerity. They will understand your business, but they're looking for that one little thing that's going to make them believe in you being the person that can take that business over the hump to prosperity.
Okay, no, great. And like you're saying, a lot of people look for financing, waste a lot of other people's time and their own time, and and a lot of it's because of lack of research. Uh, if you're going to try and pitch to a VC firm that invests in airlines,
yes,
and you don't know that, and you're trying to pitch them, medical equipment, you're wasting your time and theirs.
Absolutely.
If you're trying to get a loan that you don't have the ability to make the payments on, you're wasting their time and yours. So, really doing the research and preparing is key, and people notice that. Are you ready? Are you at the right place? So, those are some really key things. We're here looking at, every Tuesday evening, it like goes so fast. We're coming up on 9 o'clock, and we're just
I can't believe
started,
that. Oh my God, I can't believe it.
But
that's amazing.
This has been great. We got a lot of people on from all over the country, and appreciate you guys joining us. We do have a time for one additional question from the audience if anyone wants to shoot something. But been getting some good comments about it. During the presentation, and appreciate you guys tuning in and sharing that you're liking it and all. And hopefully you find it valuable. We do this just because it helps business. And Michelle, I'm not paying her a whole bunch of money to be on here tonight. I'm not really even paying her any money to be on
family
here.
discount. You're getting a family discount.
So she's doing it because it's a passion, and she wants to share some things that she knows that can help other business owners. So take advantage of what she's sharing. We've talked about a whole bunch of things, and maybe we take a minute to sort of sum up some of the key things that you want people to take away that they can put to work immediately. So put that in your mind. We do have a question for you here first. So should you use a consultant to help with your pitch deck? How should you go about?
That's a great question, because the person that asked that question understands how important that pitch deck is. I have seen people do things like go on Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and get 5 different types of pitch decks. And you could probably get 5 different pitch decks for about $10, $15, $20 a piece, and piecemeal them together. And then you can also go to a consultant before or after that. It is so important to present beautifully detailed and coherent and concise and clear-minded visuals that pitch deck is going to require you to ask everybody, hey, what do you think about this? Not only not just a consultant, but somebody in your business, somebody that understands your business. Does this present my business well? Does this tell someone what I'm actually trying to do? Does this make sense? Am I being too light? Am I being too aggressive? Actually, just do more than one is what I would suggest, because there are so many avenues to get a wonderful pitch deck. And then again, the only person that knows how your business is going to succeed more than anybody on the face of this earth is you. So ultimately, when you look at that pitch deck, if it presents your idea and your ability to make a return on investment very well, that's the document to go with. But don't be afraid to do 5 or 6 or 10 or 3 even, just 3 pitch decks and say, okay, I like this one. Here's what I don't like about this one. Here's what I love about this one. This must be in here, because what you're doing is you're gathering information from creative entities. This is what they do for a living. And they're going to give you some creativity that you may not have thought of. So I would say hugely important to get a lot of buy-in on your pitch deck. And I'm not sure I would go with paying a consultant right up front. I would say get a lot of ideas and then run it by people in your industry, run it by people that advisors, if you have a board. And then if it just doesn't seem right, then I would go with a consultant. Because remember, small businesses, this is not something that you can skimp on, but it is something that's critical. It's very, very important, but it doesn't have to be this massive investment in capital just to get a pitch deck. But do as much as you can to get very, very many of them, and then choose the best one.
Actually, that's a great idea as far as getting help, but getting as much insight as you can, and really taking more information and then bringing it down into something really cohesive. But also, it has to be you and what you're going to do. It's your plan and what you're going to follow. So you can't just have a great pitch deck that's not something that you agree with or that you put together and are 100% committed to doing.
Exactly. And make sure there's not a lot of words on it. It's got to be visually appealing. It's got to hit the highlights of everything you're about and your business is about. It doesn't need to be wordy, but it does need to be informative.
Okay, cool. And another quick question. We'll go a few minutes over, but we want to cover the question is, personal credit. How does that work? And, how important is it? I know different financing types, credit, your personal credit can be more or less important.
Okay. That's a great question too. I love that question. And I'm so happy that a person was courageous enough to ask it, because it's always one of those, this is the elephant in the room question. But I think that in our business, it's not a big consideration at all. I think if you're going to a bank, yes, it's a huge consideration. If you are going to private equity, crowdfunding, venture capital, peer-to-peer, any of the platforms on Angel, et cetera, it is not a consideration. The big issue is the business and whether it's going to make money. I can tell you, you probably looked at Shark Tank and also, just because I wanted to say something about the pitch deck. Google beautiful pitch decks, successful pitch decks, and see what you see, even just on Google or Bing. But when we're, just to get back to this, when a person has a compromised credit, there could be a myriad of reasons. So I think 50% of all people that filed bankruptcy, it was due to medical bills. So in our business, we're looking at the integrity of that business and how it can scale and how it can bring a return. And we're really, and I hate to say this because people say it all the time, but it is true. We're really investing in you.
Okay, excellent. So, no, great questions, and definitely appreciate your answers, because that's valuable, and having people understand sort of some things that they want to know. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff, but not all of it might be what people want to know. But those are definitely things that people want to know because they ask them. So we love to get questions and everything. So getting financing is not easy. Venture capital's a way to be able to do that depending on your business situation. For those of you who are looking to build relationships with potential lenders as well as other business owners and growing your business, for almost the past 10 years, we've been doing a power breakfast and conference events on a quarterly basis. And really, we convene different business owners, leaders as a networking opportunity, a knowledge gathering opportunity, and we actually bring in organizations that support business owners and entrepreneurs, as well as lenders and potential financiers. And that's the power breakfast. So those of you who haven't been have missed a treat, but I'll just show you real quick what it looks like. And then once we come back, Michelle's going to close us out with, some things that you can take and put to work immediately within your business.
My name is Andrew Frazier from A&J Management. One of the things we're here to do is supercharge your day. What we do as part of our business, as an outgrowth of our business, is we have a series of brain trust initiatives that we're continuing to build on. And really through the brain trust initiatives, what we're doing is we're bringing a higher level of intellectual capital to bear. So we're bringing in resources, experts, expertise from across the country to share best practices and connect with business owners, entrepreneurs, organizational leaders to help you be more effective in what you do.
What I'm learning from Power Breakfast that sets it apart from other networking opportunities is how my local activities integrate and are part of the larger business community.
It brings together people of all industries who can share all different levels of expertise and can educate each other on different changing nature and evolving regulatory legal landscape, as well as all facets of all industries that they might not otherwise be privy to.
The Power Breakfast is so important for the entrepreneurial community because it gives the various business people who come together an opportunity to interact, discover what it is they can do to help each other and also do some business.
From a corporate perspective, Marcia McLennan, and or for that matter, Andrew and his business model, his branding, none of us can succeed individually. We need partnership. Collaboration is the new norm.
Since 2011, the Power Breakfast has been held in the northern New Jersey area, but over the next couple of years, we expect to expand into Pennsylvania and New York as well.
Okay, great. So next Power Breakfast is going to be this October. We get more details about it, but hopefully you can join us and participate. So excellent. So this has been a great session with Michelle. Michelle, look forward to hearing what we can do to prepare ourselves better to be able to get financing and really understand what venture capital and other types of financing can look like.
Awesome. I want to say to you, Andy, thank you for having me. This has been fabulous, and I've enjoyed it. And I've enjoyed your questions and of course, your audience here, Small Business Universities and Small Business Like a Pro. I love that. And it's phenomenal. I'm glad to be a part of it, a small part. The first thing I would say, and we did talk about a lot, and I know this hour has gone amazingly quickly, but I will say this: do everything possible that you can up front without paying 1 penny for it. It doesn't take a lot to Google or Bing who got the person with the highest venture capital allocation this year or this quarter, because it's out there. That information is out there. Consider a secondly, consider a partner that complements your skill sets. So not someone that actually has your same skill sets, but someone that complements you. And if they're not a partner, bring them in with you, bring them in. And also find an entrepreneur who is in your area, in your line of business, who has raised capital, and I want to say haunt them, but not haunt them, right? Follow them. Talk to them, take them to lunch, take them to dinner, get their advice and listen to it. Because remember, they've gotten the capital. If you want to call a VC firm and say, hey, listen, I'm researching information on venture capitalists. Can you tell us your last funded projects? And go find those people, talk to them and have a phone call with them, just a quick email. And you might not get the first person to jump, but one of those 10, and there's thousands of people who get money all the time, talk to them and learn how they actually did it and listen to them. I would also say create a vision and follow it. Create a vision and follow it. Lay out your opportunities, lay out the numbers, lay out your experience, lay out your future, create that vision. And I guess finally, and this just seems trite after all that we've talked about, but never give up. If this is real for you, then it will be real for the person that funds it.
Definitely can I identify with all those things, and said some of those things to other people maybe in different ways. One of the things I always tell people is to be successful small business owners, you have to be really cheap. So if you spend enough money,
you have to be really cheap.
Partnering. The stronger you can demonstrate your team is, the better. Experience, nothing beats experience, especially in financing of someone who's actually done it. Mm-hmm. Having a vision, that's part of your strategy and plan, and that's mm-hmm. what people buy into. So and commitment. Nobody should be more excited or work harder on the project than you. So this has been great, Michelle. Thank you for such great wisdom and knowledge and being willing to share it here this evening. And definitely look forward to possibly having you back again to really build upon what we talked about, because we just scratched the surface. But at least we have things to take away immediately that we can put to work within our business and be this helping to be more knowledgeable about business in general, even before you seek financing. So thanks again, and looking forward to it. So I'm just going to close out the show real quick. So first, thank everybody for joining us tonight. We went a few minutes over, but I think we wanted to make sure we answered everybody's question, and we're really covering some valuable, important stuff. Always looking forward to each week. Each week we have someone new and a new topic, and next week is the same. So looking forward to next week. We're going to have Michael Stedman. He's CEO of Ironbound Boxing, and he's a man on a mission. So as a business owner, you need to be on a mission, and this guy is dynamite. So definitely we can all learn some valuable things from him, and looking forward to having him on next week on Leadership Live at 8:05. Until then, as we always say, the more you know, the faster you grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.